Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a follow, leave us a review, cut a promo on us by calling 626-657-SLAM. Anything goes. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. All right, cue that music.
Hello and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that defined wrestling history. I think that's how I say it normally. I'm Bradley Palermo, here as always with Aaron Fink, and today we're heading back to September 7th, 1988 for Clash of the Champions 3 Fall Brawl. This card gave us a little bit of everything: time limit, drama, bloody brawls, Dusty Rhodes doing dusty things, and Ric Flair cutting promos that can and have sold out arenas all across the country. We will break down the NWA World TV title clash between Brad Armstrong and Mike Rotunda, the Sheep Herders before they were the Bushwhackers, Dusty taking on Kevin Sullivan with Gary Hart lurking around, Gary Morton in a brutal Russian chain match, and Sting chasing Barry Windham for the U.S. title. Plus, we'll talk about what worked, what didn't work, and why this era of Jim Crockett Promotions still feels so raw and real compared to, in my opinion, some of the stuff that we see today. So grab your neon tights, crank up that sick 80s theme music, and get ready to rewind. But first, Aaron, I think we should talk a little current product. Maybe, did you catch any of that Triple A's Triple Mania the other day? I saw some of it, not the whole thing, but I thought it was kind of interesting. It's very,
it was fun. I don't think I watched all of it either. I turned it on probably a couple of times, once in the middle, and then towards the end, I saw the match with Mr. Iguana and the Judgment Day, and I got to see the Demonito Finn Balor puppet, which I thought was pretty funny. I was surprised by how much sports entertainment there was in Triple Mania, but I guess when you compare AAA to like CMLL, I think AAA is a little bit sillier in general, so it feels like a natural fit. It was fun. The crowd was excited. It was like a sold out 19,000 people arena. The matches that I actually watched, I watched the AAA Women's Championship match with Natty and the two other female wrestlers that I can't remember the name of. And then I also watched the main event, the Fatal 4-Way, with El Hijo del Vikingo, Dragon Lee, Dominic Mysterio, and El Grande Americano, who I have to say got one hell of a reception for being what I thought was like a horribly racist gimmick. Apparently not. They loved it. I don't know. I guess the Chad Gable version of El Grande Americano was like a little stupider than the Ludwig Kaiser version. He's like actually speaking Spanish and like, you know.
So they just swapped who El Grande Americano is?
Yeah. Yeah. Because Chad Gable got hurt at that AAA WWE When Worlds Collide thing that was right before Money in the Bank that we went to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his main event match was against Vikingo, and he got hurt. So he hasn't been wrestling for a while. And so they decided in storyline he's, you know, in storyline, he's not, El Grande Americano is not hurt. He's still there, but it's clearly Ludwig Kaiser.
Well,
now.
I was going to say, when I was watching it, I was like, why is this? How did El Grande Americano like get taller? Like maybe it's not Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. Yeah. So I mentioned it before, but I went to Triple Mania once. It was only a couple of years ago at the same Arena
Mexico.
City.
Yeah.
No, so Arena Mexico is where CMLL performs.
Okay.
And Arena CDMX, Ciudad de Mexico, or whatever, is the other one. So they almost have the same name, but one is all AAA stuff. The other one is exclusively CMLL.
I see.
But back when I went, it was all, you know, luchadors and like AEW stuff. Taya Valkyrie and QT Marshall was playing the American heel. He came out in like American flag tights and with American flag, you know, and he got beers chucked at his head. I mean, it got like,
oh my God.
It got like violent, but he tried to unmask Penta. And he did unmask Penta, but Penta put his hands over his head so fast.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the most insulting thing you can do to a luchador is remove their mask. And he won some sort of, you know, title that day. And, he got a lot of heat. And I think it's funny that now WWE has their guys in there and they still have an American to get heat. It must be like a good way to get heat, to come down there and be a smug American.
It's funny though, because I don't feel like any of the Americans had any heat. Like in the main event, everyone was Well, I guess I don't know if you call Dom an American. He is to me. He's born in San Diego. So Dom and El Grande Americano got the biggest crowd reactions of that whole main event. The crowd was booing Vikingo.
Yeah, that's
I looked
weird.
it up. I guess that so they're mad because when WWE announced that it had acquired AAA. Alberto Del Rio was the champion, and they quickly took the belt off of him and put it on Vikingo. And so I guess what I'm reading online is that people feel like this is equivalent to Roman Reigns in 2015, where, you know, the promotion is like, this is the guy, Vikingo is the guy, and the crowd's like, fuck you, Del Rio is the guy. I don't remember what his that's not his name in AAA, but I say good riddance to Del Rio. I don't know if you know much about him, but he got accused of sexual assault in 2020 or 2021.
Right.
And they dropped the case because the primary witness, the accuser, disappeared.
Okay, cute.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? They just dropped it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so WWE,
good riddance.
Sometimes they want to sanitize themselves of some people.
Yeah, they haven't. Once they got him, he's gone. And I've read that there's currently no plans to sign him again. So
yeah,
makes sense to me. Kind of funny that they pick and choose which assaulters they want to sign and not sign, but whatever.
Yeah. You know, Vikingo won the championship when I went a couple years ago, and then he was like appearing all over. He was in AEW, right? He's on Rampage almost every week. And then
he had a match with Omega that was really good, I think on a Dynamite a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And then it still just blows my mind. I guess that's wrestling, but to see him at WrestleMania, I'm like, I've seen you in, you know, like B shows from AEW and in person in like Mexico. Like you represent like kind of indie wrestling to me, or more, you know, more like kind of the next level, not like the Disney-fied version of wrestling, the WWE. And then to see him on there, I was kind of like, whoa, this is crazy and kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a fun show from what I saw. The clip I think that everybody was talking about was Omos wrestling. I forget what he was a little person. He's like 3'5" or something. And did you see this clip?
No,
it was really funny. The little guy, I can't remember what his name is, but he like kicks Omos in the calf, and Omos like turns around and just looks out ahead, and because he's 7 feet tall, he sees nobody, and then he looks down and he sees him, and he just gives him a boot and shoves him to the ground. It was, I mean, I gotta say, like, it was not certainly not serious professional wrestling happening for the most part, although I feel like the main event was pretty good in that regard.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of entertaining, silly stuff that happened at Triple Mania.
AAA, like they'll have the ref get into fights, like in goofy ways. The two refs start fighting each other. You know, there
was a heel ref too. I saw a clip of that where he was like the slow count, like he was like looking 1. Looking again, 2. And I was like, bro, that would infuriate me.
They do a lot of that shit. I mean, they had this pharmacist come out when I was there. It was like, it's this like bald white guy is like their mascot. So somebody comes out in like a Mickey Mouse outfit, but it's a bald white guy with like the tufts of gray hair on both sides and like a lab coat. So it's like a man in a man suit.
Right.
He's got plushie dolls of himself, of these old man plushie dolls. And he starts like blowing them out to the crowd in this sort of air gun type device.
Yeah, the t-shirt cannon.
Yeah. And I had both my middle fingers out. I got my section to start chanting, "We want wrestling" in English. and dude, he blew it right at my fucking middle fingers, and I just kind of turned my hands and caught it. Now it's one of my dog Dale's toys, but
amazing.
There's some goofy motherfuckers, and they're so fun, and everybody wears their luchador masks, and so like we gotta go. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour flight from Los Angeles. Like I gotta go back for more of.
Yeah, we could do that. You know, there was a clip going around of Triple H giving a speech to the locker room that I thought was nice. It was basically like, you know, this is a great opportunity. We're not here to change what you all are doing. We're here to add to it. We're here to enhance it.
Yeah,
and I felt like what I saw kept the spirit of that statement. You know, it felt unique. It didn't feel fully like WWE, but there were little sprinkles of it in there, you know?
I mean, it was cool. It definitely still looked, they have kind of like the weird yellow mat and stuff, and like, I mean, it's the same arena. All their stars were there, La Parca and
Mm-hmm.
you know, Dr. Wagner Jr. and all these guys, but the Iguana dude, Hamburguesa, I don't know, like it's all the same ones I saw, but
Yeah.
but they had on 4 of the 6 matches they had WWE, so it was just wild. It was like WWE's just here. They're
Yeah.
right involved in all of it, and it's like you had Natalia.
I really enjoyed Natty.
Yeah,
Have you seen any of the stuff that she's done outside of the WWE in the last few months? Have we talked about this at all?
we may have, but I'm a fan of GCW, so I
Yeah, she was
watched
on
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
She's been on it
Yeah.
multiple times. They just did another one too.
Mm-hmm.
SummerSlam
Yeah,
weekend.
I've seen her. I've seen her Bloodsport matches. I saw her match for Reality of Wrestling Booker T's school. She had an NWA match that I did not see, but I'm really enjoying this new thing that she's doing because in WWE she's Natalia. She's the veteran. She's the nice friend, coach, mentor of the locker room. But when she's outside of the WWE, she's Natty, the low key legend, wearing singlets and mouth guards and saying she's gonna fuck you up and flipping off the
Right.
crowd, coming out to Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
I love that for her, and I'm hopeful that the Monday Night Raw that's happening right now is going to have a little bit of that because Becky and Natalia are having a match this evening. And Becky said to her on Raw last week, I don't want Natalia, I want Natty. So I hope that we get that because unfortunately, as good as she is, she's been sat in the back for years, not really doing anything super important. And I feel like she has so much potential and more than anything else, she has so much passion. She still wants to do stuff and she hasn't been. So I hope that this is the beginning of a new leaf for Natalia.
I feel like she's my age, she's born in 1982, and that's kind of old, especially for a wrestler, especially for female wrestlers to be on a roster at this like this ripe age. And I feel like they were just going to leave her there to die, so to speak, like for her career to die. And she took it, I guess, her own initiative with the permission of the WWE to go out and like reinvent herself. And I think wrestling fans know what's going on in underground stuff. Like we read a lot of stuff. So I feel like it's cool. It's kind of like she didn't have to leave and do like a Cody Rhodes, go to the Indies and come back. She can do that all while under the WWE banner. It's just kind of showing the new WWE and like how it works and how it's more like kind of wrestling friendly, I think, as far as, they're all over the indie shows. They have the WWE ID. So like half these guys on like GCW shows are WWE ID, so that like none of the AW guys are around, and like Natty can come down and do her shit and they can test it out. They don't have to like put it on a house show even. They can just test out new characters. I think it's going to work for their company.
It's good. I mean, I found out the other day, Omos has been gone for months. I found out he's been at Noah. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. And so like, I think it's great. I mean, if you think about it, WWE only has so much time in a week, right? So much TV time. They don't really do house shows anymore. So I feel like all of this mingling and sending people out and making the deal with AAA and with TNA, it can only be good in the long run. Obviously, there's the whole conversation of like the monopolization of professional wrestling. And, I read this past weekend that WWE, or there's been reports that WWE is really trying to figure out how to position TNA as the number 2 wrestling company, which I don't really think is going to happen. I think AEW's got their foothold by this point. But I like that in a way, it's almost like WWE is kind of starting a new NWA. They've got all these people that they're working with, and they're letting somebody who, I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't seen too much of it, but it's just nice that there are options for people who don't get a lot of TV time. If maybe they're not on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, they can go somewhere else and they can get reps. And that's what's most important, is they need to wrestle in front of a live crowd. So hopefully this is all a good thing. I think it's probably a bit of a pipe dream to try and make TNA the number 2 wrestling promotion, but they're a business. They're going to try to, assert their dominance and become a more successful business, as all businesses do. So we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. That being said, AEW has been pretty good lately. I mean, Dynamite's solid.
TNA has quite an archive. I mean, I think they've had some of the greats before they were in AEW, like
Yeah.
Will Ospreay and such. What wasn't like Samoa Joe in there for a while?
Joe was there. AJ Styles was probably their biggest person. And when he left, that was really the downfall of Impact back in the
Yeah.
day. As soon as he got signed to WWE, it was like, meow, crash.
But they're hot right now. They have WWE talent. It's funny, like WWE lends their people out to all these other indie promotions, but then they have a TV show on Tubi with their own indie promotion, Evolve.
Yeah.
And nobody's on that thing. It's like, I mean, it's like the WWE ID, like indie guys. But I'm like, you could
Yeah.
have put Omos like there, maybe. You didn't have to put him like,
I guess, but
because that would help the TV show.
Yeah, no, it would. But I guess it seems like that when a wrestler is like, "Hey, you're not using me. I'd like to go do X." It seems like they're saying okay, and I would assume that Omos was like, "I want to go to Japan," and they
Right.
were like, "All right, go to Japan."
Right.
Evolve to me is like the step under NXT, right? You've got
Yeah.
indie people who the mainstream WWE audience has no idea about. I know that the winner of LFG season 1, Tyra May Steele, was relegated to Evolve for a little while. I think she might be back on NXT, but I don't think any of this is going to hurt the business. And that's the nice thing, is that there's a lot of diversification. There's a lot more options, and that's never going to be a bad thing.
Right.
In a competitive marketplace, it favors the employees. So yeah, nothing but good things.
For sure.
And now it's time for the rewind.
So today we're talking about Clash of the Champions 3, which was titled Fall Brawl, September 7, 1988, in Albany, Georgia, to an attendance of 3,700. It was kind of short. It was on TV. It was 2 hours long, 6 matches. In the commentary booth, we had Jim Ross and Bob Caudell, very classic sports, sort of believable commentary team. Good old Shivani was back there doing backstage interviews and updates, but wasn't on the play-by-play, which I think is probably the best spot for him. And
yeah, he was up there with Flair.
Yeah, with Flair. And we get the cool 80s music intro. I just love the whole way it starts off.
I do like that with all the belts and everything.
Yeah, and they say, oh yeah, the belts look so good. And they say, it'll be a brawl, a fall brawl, which it may be the first time they used fall brawl, right? Because that became its own pay-per-view later.
Yeah, it was a WCW thing. What was like desire, right?
Yeah.
Desire to become a champion or whatever.
Yeah, it's very, very hokey, but in a fantastic way. Yeah, we open with Shivani and Flair. And Flair's, pretty controlled. There's two Ric Flairs. There's the serious
Flair at the beginning, and then the Flair at the end.
Yeah, that's as the night goes on. Yeah.
He gets more and more angry.
Slobbering, vein busting Flair, and then just kind of reasonable guy who wants to talk about some sport.
He hadn't taken his bump yet.
Yeah, it's got to be what it was. And then we get
say,
go ahead.
This crowd of less than 4,000 people was fucking bananas, dude. They were so loud and like the hands and the clapping. I mean, it's so crazy to me when I watch this stuff, and I'm like, man, these 3,700 people in Albany, Georgia, are hotter than like a crowd of 15,000 in fucking Kansas City, Missouri today. It's like, it's nuts.
It's nuts. It's awesome. It's not, I mean, you can't get that, especially even here in Los Angeles. You don't get shit when it comes to like hot crowds. You cheer something, you feel like you stand out sometimes. It's weird. I wish it was as rowdy as it looked back then. Dude, I was watching a Nitro from like the 90s. And what's that guy's name? The Giant, I guess they were calling him.
Paul White, yeah.
He walked up to the ring with a cigarette, just lit, smoking a cigarette.
I think I remember that. In his jeans and his NWO shirt, probably.
Yeah, and I don't care if you're a performer now. Like, there's no way you could smoke indoors with somebody.
No way, yeah.
I was like, I kind of like that rawness. But this was, I'll go back to this fall brawl from the 80s. The first match was the NWA World Television Championship. One of the prettiest belts, I think.
Yeah, I liked
this era of it. Brad Armstrong with Dr. Death Steve Williams by his side, versus Mike Rotunda, who was the champion, and he had Mike Sullivan by his side. Mike Rotunda's
Kevin Sullivan.
what did I say?
You said Mike Sullivan.
Oh, Kevin Sullivan. Yeah, Mike Rotunda is, of course, later known as IRS. That's kind of what I know him from. But and Armstrong, Brad Armstrong, is the brother of Road Dogg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I like this match, man. Rotunda, I feel like maybe it's just because he was such an annoying heel as IRS, but I felt like I enjoyed his wrestling in this a lot more than any of the IRS stuff that we've watched. Maybe it was just because his character was like, I'm a wrestler from Syracuse, and he was very much like a tactician in certain moments, where as IRS, he was just being a shit heel, like.
Yeah, and he made it to WWE. They still had him as Mike Rotunda, right? WrestleMania
for a little
1.
while. Yeah.
I mean, this looked good. Like technical wrestling, everything felt real. Takedowns, headlocks.
Crowd was like so behind Brad Armstrong. Like every time he got a move in or something happened in his favor, crowd lost their shit, man.
Yeah. Dude, I wish when I was watching this, I was like, this is kind of what I think some people wished AEW was going to be like all the time. Or, I mean, this whole thing wasn't all like really sports-based competition as much as this one was. But like, I'm like, this is cool. Like if there was a modern promotion that just kind of made it look like these are two wrestlers and they're in it to like wrestle. Realistic shit. I don't know. I wish there was something I could watch where it was always kind of like this. Like,
we'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
It was a nice blend of what I assume are traditional amateur wrestling moves and holds mixed in with the normal pro wrestling stuff, the punches, the kicks, the suplexes and all that. But fun match, and was a little surprised that it went to the full 20 minutes. It was a time limit draw. And what shocked me the most about it was like how excited the crowd was at a draw where Brad Armstrong does not win the belt, because JR was like, he went the distance with the champion, and like the crowd was behind him. So I don't know if that had been part of the story leading up to it in the promos, where maybe Rotunda was like, you'll never be able to last a full match with me or something. But
perhaps, yeah,
that definitely added to like the sports based element as well. So yeah, fun opening match.
They were really selling that 20-minute time limit. I was kind of starting to wonder, like, there's been a lot of mentions of this. Like, is that where it's going to go? But it's kind of a cool thing to do, because you can have the challenger win, but you don't have to take the belt off the guy. So it's kind of like a win-win. So, I mean, I didn't really mind how they did it, but they sold it as a victory for Brad Armstrong. Like, they kept talking about this kid has a lot of heart and stuff. So I guess they were kind of developing him. And dude, those girls screaming when he won, it was like Beetlemania. I was like, what the fuck? I mean,
crazy.
And they're like, everyone's wearing white t-shirts. I'm not really sure what was up with that either. It's like,
I don't know.
3,000, 4,000 people in white t-shirts screaming.
This was another one where I felt like I was constantly being reminded of how much time was left. Yeah. And again, I felt like really played into the sports-based presentation. It was aiding that, because, it was like, oh, okay, a few minutes left. I think that might have even happened in the next match too.
Claudio Castagnoli's like European uppercuts that just look so fucking fake with like
Mm-hmm.
4 feet of daylight between his arm and the other guy's chin.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that move just has to look that shitty. But like when I saw Mike Rotunda do the European uppercut, I was like, damn, that looked like he just fucking knocked the guy out. Like that was cool. So I don't know, just an observation as a fan.
For sure, yeah. It's funny because like Claudio they didn't always look like that. I feel like I've seen Cesaro NXT matches where he's laying shit in.
Oh, yeah.
Like it just, I don't know, the lack of consistency, maybe something.
Yeah.
So yeah, the second match was a tag match. It was Dr. Death, Steve Williams with Nikita Koloff, the babyface team, against the Sheep Herders. First thing I'll say about this is I was like, wait, Nikita Koloff is like wearing a Russian, unitard. It's 1988. How is he being cheered? And then I proceeded to Google it. And I don't know if you've ever seen this because I hadn't. It might have been a year or two prior. There was Dusty Rhodes was having like a cage match. And I can't remember. Somebody was supposed to be like on Dusty's side. Maybe it was Magnum TA. I don't know, but whoever it was that was sort of aligned with Dusty was no longer with the company. I wonder if Magnum TA had already passed away by this point, but regardless, I found this clip where Dusty is getting in the cage and you see Nikita Koloff like maybe 20, 30 feet behind him coming through the crowd, and the crowd's like bubbling. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? And Koloff gets in the cage and he like sort of looks around for a few seconds and he starts walking towards where the action's happening, and it looks like maybe he'll hit Dusty, but he hits the other guy and the crowd loses their mind. It was like one of the loudest pops I think I've ever heard.
Really?
Period. So that was how Nikita became a babyface, and that you could tell that he was over with the crowd because him and Dr. Death were getting huge reactions every time they would get a hot tag or whatever. I will mention that the Sheep Herders, as you said before, are the Bushwhackers from WWF, and we just saw them in that SummerSlam. They had like a backstage promo where they were doing their arm swinging nonsense, and they were pretty much the same here, but a little less arm swinging and coked outness. They still looked kind of speedy, but
they had Rip Morgan with them, which I never saw that guy in WWE, but he was just kind of a flag waving
Kiwi.
Rip is such a great name. It's just kind of a dubious name. I used to have an uncle growing up who's like a metalhead named Rip, and they'd be like, "Oh, Rip's gonna be there." I'd always kind of like be like, "Oh fuck, that's scary."
Oh shit. Oh man.
There was USA chants, and like no one in this match. Oh, I guess Dr. Death, Steve Williams is American.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got like a Russian guy versus some Australians, and they're chanting USA, which wrestling fans love to do. If it's a Japanese guy versus a Canadian, we've seen it where they yell USA.
Dr. Death, so popular, and do you know what basically tanked Dr. Death's career? Do you remember?
No.
Do you remember the Brawl for All?
Oh yeah.
He got knocked out by Bart Gunn in like a minute, and his entire career ended because he was such a tough guy. Like that was his whole shtick. He was this big ex-football player, and then he got his shit rocked and got knocked out cold, and then you never saw Dr. Death again. Like,
oh my God, it took all of his steam, huh?
Yeah.
That Brawl for All was a terrible idea, huh?
I know. I love how in the fucking Dark Side of the Ring episode, everyone was like fighting. No, it was my idea. No, it was my idea.
God. Yeah, this isn't my favorite match of the night, even though it was fine. It
was fine. It was 17 minutes. Sheep Herders were okay, serviceable. I mean, it was interesting to hear that they had been already wrestling for 10 years and apparently had been touring the world. I guess that makes sense. They're heels and they were certainly serviceable. They didn't botch anything, but like they were the kind of guys that they were just like, let's just do like arms and chest every day and never worry about abs or legs.
Yeah. I see those guys.
Fatties with muscular arms.
Fat guy workouts where you can sit down and do them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Koloff hit the Russian sickle for the pin. So him and Steve Williams won that one. I like that JR had kind of a weird line in that one. what are you going to do when someone jams a flagpole in your kidney? You're going to go after him. That's what Dr. Death did. I was like, thanks for explaining that to me. Cool.
What are you going to do when someone jams a flagpole into your kidney?
There were some promo segments like before this match, kind of establishing what's going to happen later. Flair put over Lex Luger kind of hard. Everyone's, no one's selling us behind the curtain or winking at us. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just into the reality of this whole thing,
Yeah, no, there was an air of legitimacy.
Yeah.
The way that Flair was talking for the majority of the time they went back to that desk with him and Shivani, he was very calm and very straight-laced. And yeah, speaking about it, Lex Luger is one of the best wrestlers in our sport and blah, 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 blah. And, they definitely were leaning into that, like, this is legit. And then I feel like that's what NWA did a lot of the time, and then very early WCW did. But as soon as we started getting the sports entertainment-y stuff from both sides of the fence,
yes,
that sort of fell by the wayside.
There was a weird segment somewhere in there too, after the first match, where Kevin Sullivan was in his like wife's fluffy robe, and he was bent over beating Jimmy Garvin outside of the ring, and it was just like mostly, it was starting to look like found footage of the fight. It was like mostly just Sting's ass like bent over helping Jimmy Garvin.
Wasn't that where Sullivan, like, he took cinder blocks and slammed them onto Garvin's leg, and then he was my leg armor, it's broken.
Yeah, so there was
he was like howling. Oh,
yeah, that was more sports entertainment style, but
I guess so. But I didn't watch any of the Kevin Sullivan stuff before this. Do you know about like Kevin Sullivan and the whole like satanic panic? Then like how that all got, like, when that was happening in the 80s.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, in the early 80s, right after the string of all these crazy serial killers, the John Wayne Gacy's and the Richard Ramirez's and all that stuff, people started getting really, really scared that there was Satanism and devil worshippers. And, I think the Jim Jonestown thing was probably around that same time too. So
it's like mostly Christians that do this crazy shit, but yes,
it was clearly in hindsight blown way the fuck out of proportion.
Yeah.
It was almost arguably as bad as the fucking Salem witch trials. These fucking morons thinking that these people are, in league with the devil and blah blah. But anyway, Kevin Sullivan in the early 80s took advantage of all of this hysteria, and he had I forget what the name of the group is, and I should probably look it up because people will be mad at me for not knowing it. But he had a group of people that they basically were pretending to be devil worshippers, and he did some of the craziest, at the time, scariest stuff where people legitimately thought that this guy was like had a harem and, was worshiping the devil. He would speak in weird riddles and code, and he would like hang people and do all kinds of crazy shit. I think the people in his group, one of the people in his group was Nancy Benoit, his ex-wife, Kevin Sullivan's ex-wife. And it was like a big deal. I mean, people talk about it as if it was like the best gimmick in wrestling ever, because at the time you didn't know what was real and what wasn't. Yeah, the Taskmaster. Yeah. And so like, you would almost be scared of your parents walking in and finding you watching Kevin Sullivan because he was so dark. He was the Prince of Darkness gimmick. Yeah, he was, a cult leader. And by this point, it had already sort of dissipated, and it wasn't really as much of a big deal anymore. But he was still like a pretty insidious heel. So
that's great.
All that stuff that we saw, all those packages set up our third match, which was Dusty Rhodes against Kevin Sullivan. And I gotta say, I mean, I love seeing Dusty. Crowd loves Dusty. This match was dumb and had one of the worst finishes I think I've ever seen, because this was, in my view, just a normal singles match. There was no indication that it was like a no DQ match or anything like that.
Yeah.
And this was where
big problems with this match. Yeah.
Yeah. Gary Hart, like, didn't he? I don't know. He like hit Dusty with a foreign object, and the ref clearly saw it. Gary Hart got dragged into the ring and started doing stuff. And I'm like, why are you not disqualifying Kevin Sullivan? And then I think
Gary Hart interfered with the shoe, right?
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
He interfered with the shoe. Kevin Sullivan, like in a couple minutes prior, had pulled out his famous spike that he used to spike people with when he was doing the Prince of Darkness thing. And yeah, he got hit with the shoe. And I'm like, the ref saw that. What the hell is going on here? And then I think Dusty got the spike. He hit Kevin Sullivan with it. And then he pinned Gary Hart, and the ref counted the pin, and that was how Dusty won. I was like,
I've never seen anyone pin someone that wasn't in the fucking match. And it made me wonder, like, did Dusty put this together? Because I know he's had some great ideas, but he also got some crazy shit. And sometimes he comes up with ideas while he's like, while he was like on acid and stuff, right? So
I never knew that.
I've heard stories about like Dusty said this on acid. And so I'm just wondering if,
Yeah, everybody hit me with his shoe, if you will.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I think there were some cool things about it.
Yeah, but there wasn't even enough time to get into it. It was like 7 minutes long. I was just like, okay, come on, Dusty. What are we doing? There's no flow. It just
I like to see Dusty's elbows. They look also.
The bionic elbows are
Maybe
great.
It's the grittiness of cameras back then, and you just don't see everything as clear. But man, it just looks so good. It looks like a legitimate move.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see some of the stuff, the way he like shakes his head and like pulls his head back. You could see where Cody gets some of that shit.
Yeah, he had a ton of charisma.
Sometimes they do like the same moves, and like some of the moves that Dusty, and Cody do when they come out and the way they shake their heads and their mannerisms are exactly the same. I know some of them they probably copy off of each other. It's intentional, but some of it's just the blood, in the blood. So, I mean, I hadn't seen Dusty in a while. I don't know if we've seen him in...
we have not seen Dusty in anything, yeah.
I was excited to see Dusty. I was excited to see these two guys go at it, but it was a 7-minute nothing kind of match. But
yeah,
also Dusty made Kevin Sullivan look kind of small.
He did, yeah. I mean, Dusty's a big dude.
He's big and he's tall.
And Kevin Sullivan to me is like the definition of a fucking meatball.
Yeah.
Just his thighs are like tree trunks, man. Like that guy you could roll him up into a ball and throw him down a bowling lane, man.
That's good especially for amateur wrestling, that low center of gravity. And we got an interview segment with, I guess, an American footballer called John Ayers, who was apparently a big NFL 49er, introduced as he's going to be a special ref. He seemed, could have just been his personality. This fucking guy seemed terrified,
just nothing going on,
confused and nervous. It seemed like he was choking when he was on TV. I mean, choking like he fucked it up and forgot what he was supposed to say.
No, 100%.
Flair
couldn't string his words together.
It was weird. Flair asked him what qualifies him to be a ref, and Ayers has no answer.
It's a terrible answer.
Flair
I'm familiar with professional wrestling, and it was like the stiffest. He's going to be the special ref for Luger and Flair at some point in the future, I think is what it was.
Which was also super confusing because I thought that meant that this was going to happen on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I got to the end, I was like, the fuck? Where's the Flair Luger thing? I was looking forward to that,
It's probably next Saturday at 6:05 on their television show to get you to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that was weird. I feel like a television special shouldn't... I mean, I know you can talk about what's next, but you should kind of make that the event, not push people off to another thing. But
you know what I noticed? And this is just like a very casual television observation thing. All the commercial breaks were in between the matches. That was so nice. I think I understand why they don't do that now because they want to make more money and they want to show more ads in today's world, but very, very refreshing because to me, having commercials in the middle of matches really breaks up the flow for me in a way that I almost don't even care about the match as much anymore because to me, a wrestling match is its best. Like any wrestling match is better when you have your full attention on it and when you never break your attention and you see it all the way through without interruptions.
I agree. I think if you put a ad on Spotify or something, you're going to do it between songs. Mm-hmm. And if you do put an ad on wrestling, you should do it between matches. You
Yeah.
have plenty of time between matches. It's almost inexcusable. I mean, that's why I use a VPN to watch programming from a different country if I need to pay a subscription to AEW, through the UK, then I do that because then you don't see the commercials in the middle. And even WWE, you can do a VPN and watch like on Netflix.
Yeah, much better viewing experience. Even though they still technically like fade to black and come back, it's still much better.
Yeah.
To like have it be as uninterrupted as possible. And again, I understand it's a business. We're all trying to make money, but like at what point do you sacrifice the quality of your product for making money? My personal opinion, I would rather have the product be better 10 times out of 10, but then again, I don't work for the business and I don't care what their profits are. So
yeah, I feel the same. I mean, I really just I'm not going to watch a match unless it's all the way through. But I'm kind of bitter on like TV wrestling mostly anyways. If you're going to show me a match, I'll kind of fast forward. I'll watch like the intro and I'll fast forward to the matches I want. And then if you go to commercial, I'll probably just pick up my guitar and not be paying attention anymore. But pay-per-views still have that that full experience. So I guess that's what it's really about anyways. Oh, that's what I was with current product. What we forgot to talk about was if about like WWE's going to ESPN, which we could talk about on another day. But
oh yeah, let's get to that. Well, maybe we'll do that at the end here because we've only got 2 more matches left.
Match 4 was
Ricky Morton versus Ivan Koloff in the Russian chain match.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, nice to see Ricky Morton by himself. I keep hearing such high praise of Ricky Morton from Ric Flair. Whenever Ric Flair is on Busted Open, he's always like, Ricky Morton is the best. And I was like, man, I always think of Ricky Morton as being part of the tag team that he was, in the Rock and Roll Express. And so I enjoyed getting to see him by himself. I don't know if that was a real chain. It kind of didn't sound like it was, but if it was, man, they were beating the shit out of each other with that chain.
Yeah, it was a rough match. And with a chain match, it's kind of like a strap match. Same idea. You got to touch all 4 corners while chained to your opponent. No disqualification, beat the shit out of each other with the chain. And they did a lot of that stuff. Ricky Morton's entrance was cool. He's got the blonde mullet. It's very like bird-like. He still has it. He's still a wrestler. He's
got a David Lee Roth shirt on. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, David Lee Roth shirt. He's got to be like what 70-ish. He's wrestling still.
Ricky Morton? Yeah. He's
got a match. Oh, 68. He's got a match August 31st out there in Fort Lauderdale at Summer Smash, an indie show. And he's always in the indies. I've seen him. He was in the Senior Scramble at GCW one time. And I think he's got a son that comes out and saves him or tags with him. Like you can kind of not make him do as much because he's older.
I remember I saw, wasn't he at an AEW thing a while back? Or maybe it was the first All In or something. I don't remember, but he came out. I think they both came out, both of the Rock and Roll Express.
I don't think it was that long ago when the Rock and Roll Express.
They were like out with FTR and like they did some like I'm pretty sure Ricky Morton did like a fucking Canadian Destroyer or something.
I think I could be wrong, but I think some heels beat the shit out of the Rock and Roll Express, right? Or
I think so.
To get some heat or something in that segment. But they've been on AEW and they still do like action figures and stuff through Jim Cornette. So I think I do remember being like, oh, it's funny that Jim Cornette talks so much shit on like AEW and stuff, but his buddies or his best buds are there without him. Like because you never see him go out shows anymore. Crowd was on their fucking feet for this one.
Again, we didn't mention it too much, but like I mean, the crowd was electric the entire time. And granted, it was only 2 hours worth of wrestling, but like, man, oh man, I just couldn't believe the noise that they were constantly emitting. Like insane. Where are these crowds? Where are these people today? Everyone just sits with their thumb up their asses.
It was an 8-minute match. Ricky Morton won faster than I expected. And then afterwards, the Russian assassin attacks Morton, then turns on Koloff.
There were 2 Russian assassins.
Then the second one joins in. I think from then on, there was Russian assassins were a tag team, Assassin 1 and Assassin 2. So there was a lot of like kind of aftermath situation happening there. And then we went back to John Ayers again, which is super awkward. And what the fuck? He's not even gonna referee anything on this.
Yeah,
like, what is happening?
It's funny. I guess maybe he was well known back in the day. I don't. It didn't really do anything for me though.
I mean, you got a 49er and they're in Georgia, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Shouldn't there be like what's their team called?
A
The
Falcon?
Falcons?
Yeah.
I feel really weird that I know that. I didn't know I knew. I didn't know I could name a football team by their city.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. So match 5 was the NWA United States Championship, which I think is, yeah. What was the first one? The television championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was no heavyweight, or there was no world's heavyweight championship match because Flair was the world champion at the time.
We didn't get a world. Did we get a world heavy championship match on the other Clash of the Champions? Maybe they don't do. They save the world championship for the pay-per-view. Maybe.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel, didn't we watch it was the Flair Funk I Quit match?
Yeah, I don't know if there
So I
wasn't a
don't think
belt.
that
No,
was-
it was
no,
just
that was
it
not
was
for the
for
belt.
pride and
Yeah,
integrity.
maybe they save those for
Man.
the pay-per-views.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, so it was Barry Windham champion versus Sting challenger. Yeah, again, crowd screaming nonstop, borderline annoying at this point. There was someone just going over and over again. You could just hear this woman like
Yeah.
screaming.
Everybody
it's funny when
loves
you can
Sting.
hear one person in the crowd over and over. You're like, dude, fucking pick a different mic. I'm tired of
Yeah,
hearing
shut
her.
up. At least they weren't air horns.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Good mix of hard hits and wrestling.
Mhm.
In the ring, out of the ring, back and forth. Barry Windham caught some juice. He was bleeding everywhere pretty quickly, I believe. Sting was only 2 years into his career at this point.
Wow.
Windham was 8 years in. He was called a veteran. So I think that's interesting when we talk about like wrestlers that we don't think got it yet. But they talk about them like, oh, they're green. You know, they've only been in it for 7 years or 8
Yeah.
years. And I'm like, they're talking back then. They were calling Windham a fucking vet at 8 years.
Well, that's because they wrestled like 300 times a year.
They did, yeah, like every fucking night, right?
Yeah, I mean their schedules were crazy. They were traveling the country. Some of them even wrestled twice in a day. I know Flair talks about there was a weekend where he wrestled 9 times.
Dude, some of the probably more like Mania weeks because they turn into like South by Southwest for wrestling. Some of those indie wrestlers. Okay, so I listen to the wrestling news sometimes, which is just free in the morning, like every day. They just give you all the updates. And during WrestleMania week, they talk about all the indie shows and stuff. And a couple years ago, it was like Speedball Mike Bailey prevailed over QT Marshall, and Speedball Mike Bailey failed to accomplish, and Speedball Mike Bailey. And I was like, this fucking guy wrestled 7 times yesterday. Like, this is nuts. And it's shit like that.
It's not
like,
Speedball for nothing.
I know, dude. And yeah, and I've talked to some other, like, there's like this guy out here that I know that's an indie wrestler, and yeah, he just goes out there and wrestles as many fucking shows as you can get, as long as you can get to the next match.
Yeah.
And I don't know, one of the years he hurt himself on like the second match, so it was like it was over.
Had to cancel a lot of shows. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's got to be
That's crazy. 2 years into Sting's career, he was already pretty fucking good for only having 2 years under his belt.
He was good, and you know his promo stuff. I don't know if it was on this one, but I've been watching a lot of like that era AEW. It was like, I mean, it was maybe better than it ever was later. Like, I mean, he was almost as good as he needed to be, like at the beginning. I mean. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he was just so popular. And, you know, Sting's never been really flashy. He never had a ton of crazy moves. He kept it simple, but he knew how to convey the struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was a ref bump on this one. Wyndham uses a chair on Sting during the ref bump, and John Ayers, the charismaticless, is that a word?
Charismaticlessly?
Charismaless. Our non-charismatic footballer friend got involved to, I guess, ref once the ref was bumped, right?
Yeah, but what's funny is, like, it didn't count, because I'm pretty sure at the end they were like, okay, Sting wins, but it's via disqualification, so he didn't even win the belt.
Yeah.
But again, the crowd was like, yeah, he won. And I'm like, but he didn't win the belt. Who cares?
And you know, and then we get to the Flair commentary segment where Flair is now fired up. He's had his drugs and he's screaming.
His face is purple.
Yeah.
He's yelling.
He drops the line, you know, to beat the man.
Man, you got to beat the man.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. But I'm now left like, well, okay, where's this Flair Lex Luger match? They hyped it like it was tonight's thing, and it wasn't there. So it kind of left me. I guess I'm stupid or something, but it kind of dropped me off a cliff. I was like, all right, I'm not really totally there. But overall, great sports-based presentation. Love the time limit storytelling, how the commentary emphasized heart and realism. The production felt good, authentic, no wink stuff. Big hair, hot crowd, girls screaming, 80s wrestling atmosphere at its peak. I loved the environment and just the presentation.
Yeah. So, we might as well get into the grapple grade. So, let's remind everybody we've got fast forward, play, and rewind. Fast forward is boo, don't watch it. Play is probably watch it. And then rewind is definitely watch it. So, what is your grapple grade?
Oh, at moments I was like, I'm going to go rewind on this one. But I think overall it has the vibe, but there's just, I guess with rewind, I want to say like all the matches were good, or at least like 90% of it. And I'd say like there's just a couple long dragging, like sort of like there was a couple that I could have done without.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like a real strong main event finish because there was Ric Flair in our face talking about a better match that's going to happen somewhere else. So I'm going to go play because like I said, there was a lot that I really dug too. How about you?
I feel like it would be really easy to say play also, but I think I will give it a rewind because it's not even 2 hours long. It's the furthest from an inconvenience that you could possibly have when watching what I would consider to be like a really great time in professional wrestling. You get to see a lot of really well-known people back then and still to this day. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect, it's certainly not banger after banger, but I feel like it's worth it. If you've never seen this era of wrestling, absolutely 100% watch this thing. I give it a rewind.
I have to make a correction. I kept saying there were 6 matches, but it was only 5, right?
Yeah, just 5.
Yeah. And I understand that too with the rewind. I was thinking at points when I watched this that I would give it the rewind and that you might go play on it for some reason. But I think having one and the other, it kind of balances it out to like sort of a 4, which is sort of where I would put it. Like a 4 out of 5 if we were going by that.
For sure. Yeah. I think because in reality, I feel like it does kind of fit squarely in between those two. Like, is every match absolute required viewing? No, it's not. Is it a mid show? No, it's not. It's kind of in the middle there. So, I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would as much as I did. I really, as I'm getting older, I'm like, thank God, 2 hours. This is so nice. Like every time we watch one that's 4 hours, I'm like, geez, what are we doing with our lives?
This was a huge improvement from watching a big long SummerSlam with all the stinker matches a couple weeks ago, but it had such a good match at the end. It's like, I kind of want it to be all really good. And then at the end, just like, holy fucking shit,
there's not a lot of all killer, no filler. I mean, what I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, man, what should be my next one? And I think I have one, but there was a part of me that was like, why don't we just watch an NXT pay-per-view from 2017? Because you want to talk about wire to wire banger every match. Those pay-per-views are nuts. And I don't think you were watching at the time, but like, oh my God, dude, I watched the opener of something. I think it was NXT TakeOver Dallas, and it was American Alpha, which was Chad Gable and some other guy, Justin Johnson, maybe, who I've never heard of. Chad Gable with super long hair versus the Revival or FTR, and like crowd was fucking bananas, dude. Every match, it's just. Maybe one of these days we'll have to do an NXT one, even though it kind of goes against our premise of very old school VHS era stuff. But let's talk about the ESPN WWE pay-per-view deal really quick. That was announced, I think, last week. And, for me personally, I don't fucking care. I already have ESPN, so it's not like it's an inconvenience to me. But I did think it was a very interesting choice. It it obviously makes sense. They want to make money. They want to sell rights in as many different arenas and avenues as they can. So it's sort of a natural fit given how UFC is also airing on ESPN and ESPN Plus. But I know that it has, it's been a pretty divisive decision. People are not thrilled. The people that don't have cable anymore, that don't have ESPN, are not thrilled about having to pay $30 a month for
Well,
ESPN.
it's because they're used to paying $12.99 or something, whatever
For Peacock, yeah.
Peacock
I
is.
think you could pay even $9.99 if you don't care about ads.
Oh yeah, so then it's 200% increase. Anytime you
Yeah.
do that, you're
going to alienate somebody, yeah.
yeah. But I
What do you think about it?
$30 to watch pay-per-views is
It's better than 50 or 60.
yeah. At this point in my life, like it's not like an amount of money that I even notice. I probably pay for some of these streaming services. Well, I have sometimes twice for years and not even noticed. Which I suspect I've been paying for Paramount Plus twice because
Oof.
my TVs don't ever remember where I'm at. And I'm like, I have two profiles? Like, anyways. So I don't know. I'm not someone that's going to kick and scream. When I was in my 20s and like, and trying to scrape up $10 to see a Friends band, yeah, it would have pissed me the fuck off, like if all of a sudden like concerts were $30 instead of 10, So I understand. I guess I don't really care right now. We can still watch it on Netflix with a VPN, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I was trying to watch SmackDown on Friday with a VPN on Netflix, and for the first time, Netflix was like, "We don't recognize where you're at." And I was like, "No, don't tell me you fucking figured out my sneakiness." So I don't know if I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to clamp down and stop people from doing that when possible, but hopefully that was just a temporary inconvenience for me because I really enjoyed watching watching Raw and NXT and SmackDown on Netflix, usually with all the commercials taken out, and now I can't do that.
I was watching, trying to watch SmackDown this past Friday from Canada, and it wouldn't let me. And then I went down to Mexico on the VPN, and that worked. And I was like, all right, fuck you guys.
Okay, that's funny because I was trying Canada too, and it didn't work for me either. But I did not try Mexico, so maybe I'll have to try that next time.
Yeah, but I mean, eventually they're going to stop us from playing around with this. But I just hope the pay-per-views are accessible to us somewhere. I heard that the deal with ESPN, I just hope the back catalog is accessible to us somewhere because I heard that the back catalog is not included.
It is not. Yeah. From what I've read also. And again, they're a business. They're trying to make money. It makes sense that they would separate that out now. And, maybe they re-up their deal with Peacock. Maybe it goes somewhere else. I hope that it goes somewhere else because to lose that back catalog would not only be horrible for this podcast, but I feel like it's just a detriment in general to professional wrestling fans because there's so much there. There's literally more wrestling than you could probably ever watch in your lifetime.
Yeah.
In that Peacock catalog.
I just have it on at my work and at my house like all fucking day, just in the room. I just like wrestling on the TV and, I can you put on Nitro and, it's dude, I don't know, all those fucking years with it going on for hours every week. I mean, it's just an unlimited amount of things. Every time I walk by the TV, I'm like, I've never seen this before. What the fuck is this? This is crazy. And so it's just like wild shit. But it's not just Nitro, obviously. It's like all the shows. And some of it goes back to like the 70s.
They have Georgia Championship Wrestling. They have, quite frankly, I wish they had more territory stuff.
Yeah.
I know there are territories that I hear people talk about with such high regard, and then I go to try and find them, and I'm like, oh, it's not there. So
that's why the tape traders, they some of them are holding steady. They're like, this isn't guaranteed that you have access to all this forever. So we'll keep our tapes, and there might be things that kind of disappear, and some of them claim to have copies that are better than what Peacock has because some of these old,
they take the music out.
Like they take the music out, or they just, if it's old stuff, they got whatever tape in whatever condition they could and put and upload it, digitized it, and it's not in its complete form.
Yeah, I've seen those on the WWE Vault YouTube channel and the WCW YouTube channel. They've been posting things recently where they have that disclaimer at the bottom where that's like, this is presented to you in the best possible format. A bunch of shit's been lost. And it's so interesting. I I certainly would rather see it than not see it, but kind of crazy that like some of this stuff is just lost to the sands of time.
Yeah, and some of that stuff wasn't from any studio. It was like it aired, it was over. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just some guy happened to tape it, and that's what you're watching on Peacock. Yeah.
Yeah, like the was it a great so in I think 85 or 86, they took the Great American Bash on tour, and they did a bunch of different Great American Bash shows in different cities. And I don't think all of them were televised or even taped. So one of the ones that got posted maybe a month or two ago was like, I was watching it and I was like, I don't think this was on TV or on pay-per-view, just because of the angles and the types of cameras that they were using. It just felt like they were like, okay, let's record it, but I don't know what we're going to do with it.
Yeah. When you go to WWE house shows, it's funny. There's camera guys everywhere, even though it's not.
They grab it for the socials and stuff.
Yeah, might as well. But yeah, well, I guess we'll be okay. It'll be somewhere. I mean, this big fancy company is not going to all of a sudden have the rights to all this wrestling for all history and not fucking get paid for it,
Yeah.
So what do you want to watch next time? This one was my call, so this next one will be your call, Aaron.
So I think I want us to give ECW another try.
Okay.
I did a bit of Googling, and it seems like people tend to, in addition to Barely Legal, which we watched, they tend to say that Heatwave 1998 is one of the better ECW pay-per-views. So I want to check that one out. Seems like it's got some interesting shit in it. I think there is, let's see, we've got Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten versus FBI, Justin Credible against Jerry Lynn, Chris Candido against Lance Storm, Masato Tanaka against Mike Awesome, which we saw at ECW One Night Stand. So I'm kind of curious how that is. RVD and Sabu in a tag match.
Oh, shit.
Taz against Bam Bam. I don't know if you've seen that ever. It's a pretty famous moment from that match, which I won't spoil for you.
Okay.
And then our old pal Tommy Dreamer and Sandman and against the Dudleys.
Wow, that sounds like a good one. I am stoked. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. If you want to call, cut a promo on us, or send us a message, if you have comments or thoughts about all the stuff we just watched, about Clash of the Champions 3, or if you have any suggestions on your of pay-per-views we should watch next, you can send us an email, grapplecitypod@gmail.com, or you can find us on socials. We're Grapple City Pod. And of course, you can call 626-657-SLAM and cut a promo on us. Tell us how shitty we are, how wrong we are, or how much you just love the show.
Yeah, I want to hear, we talked about a lot of current stuff. I want to know what people think about our takes on current things, because we clearly, let somebody be divisive. Somebody argue with me.
All right. Well, someone that wasn't divisive, I'll leave him here at the outro, was our friend, I think he said his name was Big Ol' Leroy or something, left a message by calling 626-657-SLAM. And it was a positive promo for once. So
okay.
Until next time, we will catch you in the cheap seats. And here's Big Ol' Leroy.
That's right, baby. It's your boy, Big Ol' Leroy Johnson from Possum Neck, Mississippi. And let me tell you something, Daddy. Grapple City Rewind got me dancing in the aisles like it's Saturday night down at the juke joint. Bradley Palermo and Aaron Fink, they break it down like a hammer on a hubcap, talking about them good old wrestling days, the way it was meant to be. Loud crowd and a little bit funky. So grab your chain, grab your dog bone, and tune in. Because Grapple City Rewind gonna make you laugh, gonna make you holler, and it just might make you shake that thing, baby.